Hey, what's going on? It's the one and only guy, Johnny. I'm here.
Again.
I'm my boy. Let them know who you are, man.
It's your boy Jay Wonders. You know, we haven't spoken in a minute.
I know, bro. We had a podcast.
Yes.
And have a podcast. It's still out. But we have a podcast called The Forbidden Fruit that we did probably about like 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah. That thing was that podcast was crazy.
It was 2 years ago?
2 years ago, that flies. 2018. Maybe we did it up to 19.
Right.
So maybe like 19, 20.
That's crazy.
So it might have been 2-3 years. Fire podcast, but
stupid fire.
Yeah, it was fire podcast.
It was low key.
Yeah, and you can find it somewhere if you're smart. I'm not even gonna tell you where to find it. You gotta find it. Forbidden Fruit. But this is special, man, because now we're coming from a different level. You know, it's like the place we're coming from. I mean, we came back like it was like it, you know, like time never left. But we've come with so much information as we always do, and I think now is where we're gonna take it there when we talk about life,
leveling up.
You know, as you know, when it comes to male-female dynamics, relationship, game, attraction. These are the things that we know well, that we've studied and experienced, and that's what we bring. And I guess maybe this could be a good place to start, man.
Yes. So
we've been out in the field together. We've done all of that. We know what time it is, but I guess you can start off. You know, let them know. You know where who are they talking to? You know, what is the level of where you're at? Because there's a lot of people talking on YouTube.
Right.
Everybody has an opinion, you know.
All right, so we're gonna read off some notes here to just keep it on track, but I want to say first of all, like, check his Instagram out. That joint popping,
man. Good luck.
Like his level up game. Man. It just speaks for itself on what the knowledge can do.
Facts.
You get me?
Facts.
The knowledge speaks for itself because, yeah, everyone can learn a bunch of shit, but it don't matter unless we see it. And
facts.
Facts. You've been killing it,
man. I appreciate
the moves. You've been making moves.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna go through some topics, and the topics we're gonna go through is all gonna be revolving around, game. And we want to start off with what are we to the game? Okay, what is game first of all? Let's not make it too complex, but what is game for you?
Game, in the context of just what it is, it's you have one side, you have another side. You want to attain a certain goal,
right? And
the other party has their own intentions. Both parties have their own intentions, and you have to figure out how to get your way. Just like football, basketball, any sport, it's opposition. It's trying to get to the other side.
Who's your opposite? Like, who's your
trying to score? You know.
Like, who is it, or what is it that you're trying to win?
And that's the thing. I believe game is really masculine and feminine energy going against each other, because when you're playing defense, you're feminine energy.
Right.
And when you're trying to, let's say you're the guy that's trying to get the girl, you're playing offense and she's playing defense, you know? And at that point, she just try to block you from scoring. And that's like, if you're playing defense in football, basketball, you're just working your best to stop them from getting to where they want to go.
Okay. And a lot of people wouldn't look at life like this.
Yeah.
Because they'll have this idea where God has to give them stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you get me? Like, God is gonna come down and like just give you the house, give you the money, give you the girl, or the universe, or whatever anyone wants to call it.
Exactly.
They expect someone to give it to them versus the way you're explaining it. And this is how I know the game to be too is there's a goal, almost literally like a goal.
Yeah.
Like we're playing soccer. There's a goal.
Mm-hmm.
How do I go from here to that goal and score? How do I go from here to that money? How do I go from here to that woman or that relationship I desire?
Facts.
How do I go from here to, meeting the right people and building a relationship with them to take it to the next level? I think that's all a part of what I call the game of life.
Yeah, of life. And that's big. Like, that's the game of life. And then on a more, when we take a microscope and zoom in, that game is women. It's how to communicate with women to get your way. But
Right.
not, if in terms of manipulation, in terms of whatever your intentions are, that comes down to the individual person.
Right.
But game is about understanding the skills to win in the game of attraction.
Yes.
With the mate, and then a higher advanced level that we're going to talk about, and just I'd say just the next step or another chapter is relationship game, growing into different dynamics.
Yes.
What do you want? You want multiple girlfriends? You might just want one. I mean, whatever is there, we've pushed it to that level,
Right.
and we just are sharing experience of game in that context.
100%. I couldn't have said it any better. That's what it is. So what we're really going to be teaching here is that microscope level. We're going to take that microscope and we're going to point to something. And when we point to that one thing we're talking about, it's going to benefit in all areas of your life.
Yeah.
If you don't feel like you got enough friends, if you don't feel like, you're that confident in yourself, no one taught you how to speak, no one taught you how to dress, how to look at yourself in the mirror and go, I'm a man. Because that's what, at the end of the day, before we even pop this camera on, that's what we were talking about. What's the whole point of learning this? And I realized it's just being the best version of yourself, which is a man. Because we're strictly aiming towards the men in this. Not saying women can't learn, this.
Learn a lot.
Women can learn a lot about how to treat a guy by learning
And how we think.
based on how we think. So I'll go to the next thing.
Yeah, facts.
How has the game helped you?
Man, so the game has helped me, and just to give you an idea of where I was at, the game has helped me in the sense of I can have my way. It's very abundant. Through game, I've experienced abundance when it comes to women, and just in a way of understanding. Just girls as friends. Just that communication line has been understood. But game is. Are we better?
I was gonna say, because it's not like you weren't in that abundance prior to even looking some information on how to get it. You were getting it naturally. Yeah. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like being in college.
No, that's facts.
High school.
Yeah.
But then you started to get information.
Exactly.
On how what you were doing naturally worked, right?
Yeah. It was understanding the nature, understanding the deeper aspect. Initially for me, I stumbled upon it just through studying about success,
right?
Money, and that's what I love about game. Like you said, all facets. It relates to money, sales, like
it just goes back to everything.
Everything,
even to the point where, like, it benefits the relationship I have with like my siblings, my parents, people in my family, work.
Yeah, it's everyday life. No, definitely. But for me, my main thing was like, look, man, I was out there and I was getting women, but the thing is, I wanted to really have a purpose with it, and I wanted to. There was always it was always the girl that, you know what I mean, that moment where you're like, dang, I didn't approach, man, I kind of chilled out, I didn't take advantage, and I didn't like that. So I wanted to tap in, like, okay, I gotta get out of my comfort zone. And so as I came across this information, I'm like, this is interesting. It was simple things, like, I remember back early on, this was like Probably like when I first, this is like my senior year of high school.
Mm-hmm.
My boy, his older brother had all this game information from some dude, and I remember it was like cocky funny, and it was giving you energy of like learning how to be, the idea of being a cocky funny character, and they were explaining how that was a great archetype. And I remember just those ideas. I didn't delve deep into it, but at the time I'm like, okay.
That sounds even weird. Like if someone first heard that.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, cocky.
There's an
funny.
archetype.
Yeah, there's an arc. So then I'm like looking, there's an archetype. Okay, there's this cocky funny thing. Okay, you keep it in your mind, and from there, you start dealing with women. You start noticing things. You seeing how, there's a deeper way you can communicate with them, and that intrigued me.
Wow.
So that's what really drew me to really tapping in, and I stumbled across some amazing people that talked about the subject.
Right, and it's so interesting. I can hear a dude going, there are lanes for studying about this.
Yeah.
But really what's so funny is how beneficial it is to say a long-term relationship with a girl.
Yeah.
Like, you get me? Like, just sitting there and going, dang, I can think outside of the box instead of me and my wife that's been married for 20 plus years.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds boring. Anytime you hear anyone in a relationship that's been married for 20 years, usually that guy doesn't have the dynamic to think outside of that one-on-one relationship. He just has a one-point view.
Yeah.
Versus when you get, you got some game installed in you.
Game is interesting.
It's multi-dimensional.
Yeah, there's levels to it.
You not even looking at her for her. You looking at it as like us. How does she look at me? Now the perspective switches from me looking at her to now I'm looking at myself through her.
Yeah, and that's interesting, man, because very quickly the spirituality of the game I noticed. I was like, this is deeper than just like trying to learn how to, be with a girl.
Right.
Like, this is the dynamic between men and women. So this runs into the core of masculine and feminine energy. Like, it's deep, and that's where it hit the next level. That's when I started to really study.
Okay. So, what do you notice the guys do to prevent them from understanding this, what we're talking about, and getting the girl they want?
Man, that's a great question. And the big thing is this, man. I think the big issue, because as I said, I studied, but I still practiced a lot. So for me, it was a balance of practicing and being like, okay, what is it that I noticed? Look,
Which I think is hard because you're playing with your ego.
Yeah. Oh man, this is a game. When your ego, you gotta leave it at the door.
But it's so hard because it's okay. What's the difference? Because you remember in the beginning we were talking about playing football, soccer, and we're comparing it to an actual like game we created here, a basketball game or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I suck at basketball. That may stain my ego a little bit, but
is that gonna make it stop? Or are you gonna stop?
I'm not gonna stop because it's just a little ball game.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not my life. I'm not taking it serious. It's a hobby. But when we transition to now, you got to go out there and put your ego on the line, and someone will be like, ew, who the fuck do you think you are? Or you're ugly, or that will stain you.
Definitely.
And you will
hurt,
feel it because you will take it so personally.
Yeah.
Because you're really going out there and putting yourself out there.
Yeah, you're being vulnerable.
Who are you talking to? Who do you,
Yeah, when you're talking to a woman, you're being vulnerable. Because, you're open. And the idea is, as a man, she expects you to be so strong.
Yes.
That I can tell him whatever, F him. And he should handle it. And to a degree, it's like, it can be cold, but to a degree, that's how strong you're going to have to build that internal self.
Yes.
And that's where the character building takes place. And this is where you start to develop into a different animal. Like,
yes.
That's all a part of it.
I agree. Because I think, like, going back to the question, what do I notice, what prevents guys from understanding this game is their ego gets in the way.
Ego gets in the way. That's
one.
one.
I would say number two is they can't get outside their own reality.
Yeah, that's huge.
And men, they don't have this, they can't get outside their own perspective on, what they think is right about women. And personally, me, I've talked to different men, different ages. You know, men around your age, men around my age, men younger than me, men older than me. And when they haven't mastered, and what I'm about to say, like I said, this is us challenging your ideas. When they haven't mastered the feminine energy, they think they know what the fuck they're doing.
That's the gap. It's the lack of that's what it is. The lack of men and masculine energies in the world, not understanding the feminine energy. And vice versa, but it starts with us. Because in attraction, if you want to get them to get on your program, you're the one that has to, lead the way. And if you don't have the knowledge, now you're putting that pressure on her, and you're adding pressure to her life instead of direction. Even the way I just said it, mastering the feminine energy, which would mean you would have to understand mastering the masculine. There's no one or the other. You can't be like, I mastered masculine energy and it has nothing to do with the feminine one. Exactly.
That's like saying I'm a man, but really, I feel like a girl will justify that concept. You get me? The way she acts with you, the way she talks to you, the way she, you have a relationship with her. Because another man, no offense to any gay people like watching this or anything, but another man is not going to be like, yeah, I mastered, on how to interact with a female energy with another male. That's game. I mastered how to interact with the female energy. That if you got game, that's what you're doing. All right, what would you tell a newbie or a young person, or even a younger version of yourself that never, this is your first time hearing something like this. This is a new concept. When I won a game, like when I was like 17, 16, I didn't even know what it was. Yeah, like you wanting something that you didn't know about. What would you tell that person? I would tell them. Or a new person that's just stumbled upon, this channel and video and is like, what are you guys talking about? Yeah. You get me? Because this is old, bro. Yeah, this shit goes back to the beginning of time. This is nature. So yeah, I would say, look, man, I know you want certain girls. I know you want some girls in your high school. I know some girls that you got an eye for, and the only reason you don't got them is because you're too nervous. You don't know where to take it. You feel when you're talking to them, it's like the girl's ahead of you. And information, sexuality. She's a freshman talking to seniors while you're a freshman trying to figure yourself out. Damn. So that's what's in your way. So I say, look, man, what you gotta understand is, with women, it's about being bold. A powerful line that I heard was, this is from the 50th Law of Power, and I'm about to open this up. It's in the first chapter, one of those chapters, and it says, basically along the lines of, a woman will be won by someone that's impetuous versus the person that's like accommodating. So explain that a little bit. So impetuous is like taking what you want. So you're saying a woman will be won by the person that is going to go after her and take her, and take what he wants and has that energy and that mind state, versus the person that's nice, the person that's trying to be accommodating, that's trying to do it the nice way. So when you understand that, and this relates to nature, this is Mother Nature, like only the strong survive. I agree. So you got to be bold, daring, pushing things forward, and you'll be rewarded by the feminine energy. If you don't do that, you can be destroyed by the feminine energy, or you'll be very controlled. You'll be underneath it, underneath its womb. Yes. For too long. And this is fire. Yeah. Like, once you need to replay everything he just said. Like, man, if I was a new guy listening to this, bro, and I had no idea what we were talking about, I would sit here and be like, am I even looking at this like this? Why am I not looking at it like this? Why am I looking at it from a scarcity place of I don't have value, first of all? And he just broke down to me I gotta take something.
You gotta take it. Like, you wonder, is it my shoes? Is it my clothes?
Right.
Look, man, the reality is, especially in the high school early days, you don't have the resources and stuff like that. So all you got is that confidence.
Right.
And that confidence is hard because you're like, what is my confidence based on? See, the football players got confidence because they're on the team.
Mm-hmm.
The funny kid has confidence in his humor.
Right.
But the way you build confidence is through experience, through failure. And you gotta be willing to talk to those girls. Some dudes might be nervous to get in a relationship. You gotta go in there and build that experience. Once your mouthpiece gets strong and you start to experience more and more with women, you build the comfortability.
Right.
But that's the first thing you gotta realize. You gotta go after it. And I know they'll probably hear this and don't even apply it because it's too.
Yeah, it's too much. But that's why we're here.
Move to, yeah.
But that's why we're here to break it down.
Yeah. So you can say hi. We're gonna break that down.
Oh yeah,
for the dudes.
bro.
Like,
We're gonna break this shit down for them. So it's a simple science.
Exactly.
We could teach a kindergarten this.
Yeah, this isn't some pickup artist like
Nah.
one-on-one teaching you techniques. This is teaching life and like the core nature
Right.
aspects of it, like for real.
So what I would personally tell my younger self is, I would say, yo, let go of whatever you think is right. That's what I would tell my younger version self.
Wow.
And continue to do that and challenge every idea you have about not just yourself, but the opposite sex. Challenge yourself and be open and don't close your mind to what you think is right or wrong. Because at the end of the day, I see that that's where people get capped at. They get capped at a point where they're like, this is it, this is the answer, this is how life is supposed to operate. But let me remind y'all, you're living in your own reality.
Yeah.
Someone else might be living something that you think won't work and it's working for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where I come in as an older version or someone that's been studying the game, and I will look at it and I'll go, there is no way. But if there is a way, it may not work for me, but it works for someone else, then that must mean I must study it.
Yeah.
Because there's probably some pieces that we may agree on and we may not, but that's the thing. I'm always open to trying to understand. It's an understanding of this. And it's weird because, you know, we have what? Say the max years of living is 100.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
To understand yourself, it's not a lot.
Goodness, it's not. That's why this is so important, this stuff.
Like, it goes deeper than learning it. It goes to the point where it's like, how fast can you start to break down yourself and who you are to get the best outcome of life? And, you know, just understanding me as a male and the males around me, we mature a little late. We mature later. Women mature fast as shit. By the time, like he said, you in high school, they want older men. They want the guys that are gonna emotionally have the intelligence for them because they already adapted. Like, you know, I remember girls in elementary school when I was growing up were already blooming.
Yeah.
Bro, what?
Yeah.
Like, I looked like I was still 8 years old in 5th grade.
They were blooming for real.
Yeah. And by the time I get to high school, like, I still have braces, glasses. Like if I show you my little ID, bro, you would think I was in elementary school as a freshman.
Wow.
Like, it was that bad.
Wow.
Well, middle school, but I'm exaggerating. But it looked like I was still in like 7th grade as a freshman.
Wow.
And I remember there was girls already going after, and in different places.
8th grade.
Yeah.
You're in 7th grade.
So, let me see. How has the community? Okay, this is a perfect question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because before we even hop onto this question, I know I came into the game when it was still underground.
Yeah.
And when I say underground, it was still underground.
There was no red pill community yet.
There was no red pill community. You knew because you knew, or someone told you. It wasn't a clickbait thing. This is clickbait stuff now.
Yeah.
This ain't, like, this is old.
Yeah,
like,
everybody's
old.
kind of pitching the same
Yeah.
for now about female nature.
Yeah, this is like everyone was almost on the same frequency. The deeper you got, the more everyone understood this shit, and we all agreed on it, and we understood the value more. We took it more seriously. Like, we didn't play with this. We were like, all right, bet we touching on something. We all taking it serious because we're the only ones seeing what we're touching on. Versus in 2022, it's clickbait. It's everyone is having a little taste to it, which I think
like Kevin Samuels.
Yeah, Kevin Samuels did not we've been hip to this before a Kevin.
He was probably learning the same time we was, for real, like 10 years ago.
Right.
Because that's when the community really started to boom between 2005 and 2010.
Right.
Is when this information started to come out. It was very.
And I think you probably even started learning way before him, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you get me? I mean, he probably hit a midlife crisis. It was
yeah. I got like, what's going on? For
yeah.
real. You know, and that's no shade. Shout out to him. Like, he's doing this thing. But I'm just speaking like, bro. I remember back when the Pickup Artist show came out.
But before we start, hold on.
Yeah.
How has the community shifted into what it is now versus what it was about then?
Okay. Boom. So let's take it back to 2007. I'm in. I gotta be like a freshman, sophomore, something like that. Freshman, sophomore.
2007.
Something like that. Young, but like I remember I see the show called The Pickup Artist on VH1, and the dude's talking about he's taking these nerds and turning them into these cool guys.
These players
by having them learn games. So this is me seeing it on TV. Like, what is this shit? Right. It was interesting to me, which is why I already knew I was into this, you know, and watching it, seeing them transform. I'm like, okay, these are interesting ideas, but it seemed very technical.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, whatever. So I go do my thing. I tell you about, you know, the cocky funny thing. And at this time, it was really a bunch of squares taking pieces from dudes who had game, like pimps, players that were talking back in the early thousands, and taking it and creating linear steps for people to act like it.
Like drug dealers, rock stars, rappers.
Yeah, they're pulling from these different people.
Why are they getting all this attraction so heavily?
Exactly. It was very mysterious at the time. You know, nobody really could put their finger on it.
Right.
And, you know, there's been scientists that, like Einstein said, it's easier to do physics than the hardest thing has been trying to understand the world. Yeah. Whether he said that or not, I don't know. But just that idea. So with him, I remember seeing that. Yeah, you know. So with that, the community was very much from there. Then I remember around, I'd say late 2000s, you had some players and pimps as well contributing for more of the street crowds. Then you had Pickup was for more of the mainstream guys, and you started seeing a lot of these pickup guys pop up.
Right.
And then I say in early 2010, you had a lot of people. You had like some videos, but it was very much like certain groups. Right. So then time goes on, and then this phenomenon begins to come where dudes are making out with girls in the street. Girls are getting one day lays. Like, it becomes more of like this thing. So people are watching it like, I want to figure that out now. Right. How to get girls fast. How to have this dream. There's websites. It was so much information, but it was still hidden. You had to look for it. You know what I mean? But it was very much like, was going there. Right. So now we're there, and then let's say around 13, 14, and I'm giving you all a whole timeline. Right. No, which is true. Yeah, you know.
Because that's how long you understood.
Yeah, that's how long I've seen this thing transform.
And let me remind you, during these shifts of each year, this shit is underground. This is no one. You're not about to meet someone from the street or even talk to someone in your school and be like, "Hey, yo, you peeping what that other dude doing?"
Facts.
Nah, it was just a real. It was a real underground community.
Real underground. Like you go to events maybe and meet somebody. Like I met a great friend at one of the events, and where it was like a speaker. I think it might have been like one of those groups. Right. And we ended up going out gaming all the time. We do it all. I gotta hit him up. It's been a minute, but we did our thing throughout DC. But you know, the main thing is, around 13, 14, the information got deeper because I kept pushing the envelope of learning, and I started getting into. That's where the red pill thing started to birth. It birthed earlier, like with Royal Tomasi and certain people writing books, but this is when it was like certain people started coming out with deeper information on the darker side of game, of feminine nature, which actually strengthened people's game, I think, because it allowed them to be tougher because they weren't empathizing with women as much. So it was this very potent science. Right. So I see that coming up a lot more. Then you have like the MGTOW community comes after that,
which was
men going their own way.
What year?
This was around 2014, 13, 14,
so
15.
You started noticing in 14, 15 the MGTOW?
14, 15.
I didn't even hear about MGTOW until like probably 4 years ago or something.
Wow. Yeah, I got hit to that early because that's
what the
when
heck is MG, like.
Yeah, and early on, man, it was very much like in the thousands when I was originally coming up. It was very much the lifestyle. It was very much the image people were chasing, and it started to go deeper into the truth. Because so many people had tried and failed, and they were still searching, so now they're going deeper. Boom, that community comes up. MGTOW, which is now going deep into the dark side of female nature, which is and guys are now going their own way because they don't want to deal with them. Because a lot of the guys did get beat up in the pickup communities and trying to learn game and not getting success and being frustrated, blasted, not getting what they want with women and rationalizing it like that's why, right? So then that comes, then that phase, and now you have a bunch of guys. The red pill community has now become mainstream around 2018, where most guys now, there's a lot of people talking about the red pill. A lot of guys talking about female nature. And then it's now shifted into the original pickup space is almost died. It's dead.
That shit is gone.
It's dead. It's gone. And now you just have guys now.
That shit is gone.
Modern. It's gone. It's
like
gone.
I don't hear anyone talk about that.
No one talks about it. A lot of people pull gems from there. They won't tell you. But a lot of the guys that you listen to now.
I think that's where I think like personally from even studying it for myself, because I started to understand that 2014. Remember, he was already talking about it starting 2007.
Yeah, 2007. Yeah.
I hopped on 2014, and right?
Yeah, it's
crazy, right?
Yeah.
So I started understanding 2014, but I started to understand the only reason why it got popping was because of mystery.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking about YouTube wise. Yeah, on the mainstream wise, it was because of.
I mean, he was doing shows with Jay Leno. I mean, he was on mainstream television with that.
Talking about shit that. Who would talk about facts? You feel me?
And then you had some guys before, like Patrice was a GOAT. When I found Patrice like 2013, and that was huge for me.
Yes.
Listening to his shit was like, oh my gosh, because he dug into it. But then you had a lot of. It was definitely those.
I think before it became mainstream or like
he was underground.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Before it became mainstream and stuff, what I noticed is like before I even say Mystery, right? Which already he's a legend. Shout out to Mystery if you watch this.
Yeah, facts.
The streets, pimps, comedians.
That's where it's birthed.
The pimps, the P's, the streets.
Yeah.
That lifestyle already knew.
They already knew
that they were speaking a language that wasn't a thing to speak about in public, or to speak to on camera. You will look like a fool trying to.
The game is sold or not.
You will look like a fool talking some real shit with some old heads or people that you grew up with, and then hop on a video like this back in the day and talk about it. You'd be like, bro, that's weak shit. Like, why are you talking about girls? Like, you don't know how to get some?
Yeah.
You get me?
Yeah.
But that's when I see it birth from like the streets to like this thing called YouTube, mainstream, and then now we're here. Now
we're here.
Okay.
Yeah. Now it's like women. It's pretty mainstream to know that men see women as like doing the most.
Yes.
And that's pretty mainstream now, which was not back then. Women back in the thousands and the teens, women were still under the radar. Nobody knew when we're doing anything.
Right.
Except the initiated, we'll say, the ones that learned.
Right.
It was very much, nobody saw women doing anything wrong.
Right.
And it was only the ones that, like the players knew, because players were manipulating or using the things that women do to them and flipping it. But everybody else was still,
So what I see now, I see a lot of bitter, angry, frustrated, new people understanding female nature and they cannot
with no game.
That's what I'm saying. They cannot get past this point. Like you said, they try to hear the pickup artists and you know, they tried these games or these different companies and these other people and they still cannot pass that threshold of going, it's not working for me though.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how much I learn or what truth I get, I'm still not able to get what I want.
Yeah, that's
which
fact.
is attraction and compliance, just all. It's like almost, why'd you learn this anyways in the first place if none of it's going to be helpful to you? If anything, now that's when the MGTOW thing got birthed, and the black pill, the purple pill, I don't know what the heck it is now. When I first came to the game and what I saw was straight action, information, and results.
Information and results. Yeah.
That's it.
Action,
now,
results.
I don't even know what it is now. It's a bunch of
just
grown men crying about they have to be a winner and then not winning.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the difference.
That's powerful, man. Facts.
What things were difficult to understand the game you were learning?
Man, the hardest part really that I noticed, the block I think between like where I was at and where a lot of guys are at, is that it was a lot of theory and it wasn't enough application.
Right.
Because you know, because it's like this. When we talk about game and studying and things like that, it's not really like you're sitting there like, okay, X plus this is that.
Right.
No, it's imagine you have 3 uncles that are always getting women, and you're in a room with them all the time. You listening. If you're smart, if you're sharp, if you're real sharp, you're gonna listen and hold some things and apply it. If you're sharp, you're just gonna know like, okay, that's game. If you're like not sharp, you're gonna like not really care what they're saying. You're gonna be like, they're just good.
Yeah.
And then if you're like super square, you're just gonna be like, what they're doing is so wrong.
Right.
What are they talking about?
They talk about women like
You
this.
know? So it's like, that's what we mean is like when the people that I was listening to, they was kicking it. They was having conversations. They was sharing ideas. So, essentially, but the problem is, you don't want to be lost where you with your uncles all the time. See, if you with your uncles, they gonna tell you ideas. These hypothetical uncles. Let's say you got some player uncles. They gonna be telling you ideas, and they're gonna be talking, but they also gonna be like, hey, go talk to that girl right there. You know, they're gonna say, who you talking to right now? So you're gonna feel the pressure to have to.
How you talking to them?
You know, you're gonna see them do stuff, so you're gonna be like, okay, now I want to do it.
What does it smell like?
Exactly.
Tell me what it smells like.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
What you do with it?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Man, nah, next time you gotta tell her this.
Right.
So you're like, all right, they're getting you sharp. Whereas with this, you're not with these people directly.
Right.
So you're listening in on the information, but there's nobody pushing you to to go at it. But like for me, I remember I wasn't really approaching as much until, I was going out with a homie that was going smack. And then I was like, man, I felt enthralled. Like I'm seeing him get success, so I'm like, I'm gonna do it. And then there's times I had to push myself, especially early on, to just go smack on my own. Amazing thing that happened to me one time is when I was learning. Hold on. When I was learning and was in theory, and I remember I just started. I had read a book and it was a book that just explained. It was by Mark Manson called Models, and it was really just about what I got from it was about brutal honesty, where he was just saying, just tell her exactly what's on your mind. So he walks a girl, and it's about being really authentic, and the idea that just by talking to a woman as a man, and that polarity you feel of talking to a stranger is going to trigger attraction in her anyways, because it's a male and female attraction and it's raw. So I'm just going at women, just saying what's straight on my mind, and coming from like the heart for it, like coming from the truth. I wasn't trying to be super clever, and I started to see like an opening. And I was getting every girl, like she would open up. It was getting so wild. I can talk, It was like I was melting that void, that veil. So I just say that to say, what was the next question?
What things were difficult to understand?
Oh yeah. So when I applied the information, the big thing that I saw was like results. And I
Right.
think the issue with theory is, especially now,
Yeah.
dudes are just talking about female nature, talking about this, talking about
All
that.
talking.
So
what are you doing?
there's just talking points.
Yeah.
There's no action. There's nobody really getting women in their lives.
Yeah.
Like, even if you talk about a lot of these characters that are like teaching guys stuff right now and checking women and stuff, you don't really see them. And I'm sure a lot of these dudes are winning.
Right.
I'm just saying you don't see them with women consistently in their life.
Right.
And that's the thing. I think the problem with guys, they're not really getting the results. They're just very much stuck in the talking points.
Right.
You know.
Okay. What things were difficult to understand?
Yeah. How about for you, man?
I'll say what things were difficult to understand. I'll say the truth, to get over past the truth about women.
That's hard.
I'll say like, and you know, going back to that's what I see in the community. I get why that was so hard because I actually recently had a conversation with my own mother.
Wow. And
you know, this is not me even initiating it. She was just like, "Yo, I'm sorry for, you know, coloring women a certain way for you." Because I'm really open with my own mother about you know like we really connect. We just talk about stuff, you know. And she was like, you know, I'm sorry I colored women like too nicely for you.
Yeah.
Like she colored it in a sense like she made them innocent because she was only giving it from her perspective to her son.
Yeah.
And obviously, mommy's gonna paint herself the best way she
Naturally.
could possibly paint naturally.
To be an example.
No girl's gonna be like, you know, a woman's a bitch. What? That's not happening. So I'll say,
she got one of those gangster moms.
or you got one of those.
But I feel most cases,
but even my mom was that though.
yeah, it's kind of natural for a woman in
My
general.
mom was that kind of like rough, like, but it was just a typical like, treat the girl nice, Jason. Make sure like.
Same with my mom.
You get me? But I'm like,
yeah.
she's never once talked about what to look out for.
Yeah.
She only talked about how to treat them.
Exactly.
And, you know, that's one thing when you've been programmed at a young age to look at women a certain way and you start to grow up and you're understanding the real dynamic, you're going, what the fuck? Why does this shit, like, it don't make sense. I'm doing this, what I'm supposed to do, with TV, with music, with my friends, what my parents tell me to do, but what? This fantasy shit, where are we? Why doesn't it make sense? So getting out of that, I said that was the biggest difficulty for me personally. But I picked up quickly because I always had a taste of both worlds. I always was chilling with people that didn't give a fuck, people that gave a fuck, the church people, the non-religious, the this, the that, and that balanced me.
Yeah.
To the point where
you got to see both worlds.
I had to personally go, what is my perspective? What is my opinion? What am I going to agree to what I see? You get me?
Yeah.
And I think that's just growing up from being a child and your parents giving you views to you getting your own views. So we're going to go to the last thing. When did you start to notice a personal transformation in understanding the relationship dynamic with a woman?
So, oh man, like for me, I started to learn just through, I'd say around 2013. Like I remember it was powerful videos I saw, like, don't put a woman on a pedestal. Understanding that some people would teach, like realizing that you have to have high value and more value than her. You have to see yourself better, you know, than she, you know what I mean? Than she sees herself down there. You have to match that energy, you know. So it was very much realizing that you have to build a better frame for yourself, a better self-image, and you also have to have a certain level of confidence. And that's really the shift that I was noticing that was big. You know what I mean? And just say that question one more time.
So when did you start to notice a personal transformation?
Okay, so once I started to really learn these principles, a shift happened because I started to realize it was bigger than just trying to get the girl. It was really, as a man, this is a sacred gift that's lost that a man's supposed to have. This is the gift of having women be pleased and satisfied. You know, this is the masculine energy that they're seeking, that they're yearning to have in a man. And it's lost right now, and it's a gift. And
it's sad that it's a gift.
Yeah, it's sad
because it should be a starting point.
Should be a starting point.
Like it should be like, what? Every man's a man.
Facts. And it's a gift that's been trampled on. So it was certain things, for example, like a guy, I'll give you one example. Like a guy might be like, oh, like, I'm gonna get married and blah blah blah. And then let's say I walk in and or let's say I'm a guy that says, you know, I wanna have multiple women. I wanna have 5 girlfriends. People will look at you like, are you crazy?
Right.
What do you mean? Why do you need that? What? And as a pure man, pure masculinity, I can stand on that, knowing the nature of man, knowing how that actually works toward making me more attractive with that statement. How bigger my world is dealing with women versus the next man. All of these things is a shift in being able to stand on manhood. That if you didn't have this information, you're thinking you gotta get married. You're thinking you gotta just be with one person. You're thinking all I can do is cheat. I don't have to cheat. Like with my girl, like everything I say, she knows what I'm doing. I mean, I could say whatever I'm doing. I could be talking to her, I be dealing with another girl, whatever. And it's not. I can do that because I'm dealing with her from a perspective, letting her know, look, this is the aspects of man that I'm not willing to compromise for one woman. A powerful line is, the game will get you beautiful. I mean, will get you women, but a woman ain't gonna get you the game. You know, a woman ain't gonna sit here like me and my boy Jay Wonders is sitting here telling y'all, you know, letting y'all hear this conversation and tap into this info. You know, they're because they're on their side. It's like they just live in their world. Right. This is our side. That's really the thing that I think. You know, and frame that question one more time.
When did you start to notice a personal transformation to a person that started to understanding what's happening in a relationship with a woman every day?
So that was the big thing. Was the biggest transformation was that I realized, oh, this isn't like, oh, find the girl that you love, that's nice, and you get with her and marry her and have a family.
True.
I realized, hold on, that's a fairy tale. The real thing, it don't work like that. The real thing is she's gonna be battling you. She's gonna be testing you. You're gonna have to pass shit tests. You're gonna have to be strong. You're gonna have to be able to stand firm. You're gonna have to deal with her different swings and let her know that you're not rocking. You gotta be willing to be honest 100%. You gotta be able to stand on what you believe. You know, you gotta be confident, bold.
The more ambitious. You lie, the more you not being a man.
Facts.
Because a lot of people go, you know, I get girls, but they always lying. And I'm saying,
facts.
You starting from a weak point. Like, you're not even that strong.
You got 3 girls, but they don't know. They don't know. You should have 3 girls and be like, I have 2 other girls I talk to. And she should be able to deal with that. And for guys that are like, oh, snap.
And once she catches you, you weak. Automatically, you already destroyed yourself because you violated the first rule, I think, of being a man.
And now you want to be a man and be like, I don't give a fuck. And now you're just an asshole because you lied. And that's how you have women secretly putting hella negative energy on you. You know what I mean? And that's what you don't want to. You don't want to have women be your enemy because you're lying. So
you might lose women being truthful.
Being truthful. They're always gonna respect that. They gotta respect that.
That's fine.
Even if they hate you, they gotta love you a little bit because you always kept it 100. And 9
times out of 10, most guys are not gonna keep it 100. Most of them are just gonna go, yeah, I'm gonna just lie really quick. You feel it's so easier to lie to women than not to lie. And I feel like when you know really what you're doing, there's no need to lie because you almost become the diamond in the dirt. you
Yeah.
become that rare breed of not a man with money, status, you know, a car, a crib, a mansion, you know, all this dumb shit, but you become a rare breed of masculinity.
Absolutely. That's facts. You know, the audacity to be that honest is bold. It's attractive. Honesty is attractive.
It is.
You know, to the point where, you know, a dude can say self-demeaning things, but he don't even care. And that's the key, just honesty.
It is.
So that's a huge shift, because it went from me being like, I gotta be this archetype to get the girl, to like, hold on, I gotta just be the truest, best version of myself.
Right.
You know, and stand on my principles, because I know it's gonna be in my favor. That's where the game kick in. You can lean on it a little bit stronger, because you already know when I tell her this pre-selection is one of the biggest triggers of attraction. If a woman knows that I have women that already want me, that already works in my favor. So while other guys are trying to hide it from the girl, I'm putting it out there because I'm being honest.
Exactly.
And then with some game, you also know she can deal with this.
Right.
And you start to realize women can deal with that way easier than you think. Women are not as soft and dainty as a lot of guys think.
So the battery's about to die, but any quick last words?
I would just say, man, there's gonna be an awesome channel and an awesome information we got. We got a lot of stuff.
Yes. It feels like we said a lot, but we didn't touch on nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing.
So, you know, let us know the questions. We want to definitely respond to questions, answer questions. We're going to be touching on some of the most potent stuff that you can find right now. So,
just stay tuned, bro.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say. Just stay tuned and expect a lot.
Yeah.
And, you know, don't be judging the book by its cover, because you never know what the book is about to be about.
Right. Is there any piece of game? Maybe at the end of these, we can always give one piece of game that you can use and get some immediate results real quick.
I'll say, pay attention.
Pay attention.
That's it.
Okay. And I would say, approach.
Yes.
Approach. Wherever you're at, if you're advanced, mediocre, you have no experience.
Anybody.
Approach.
Never just woman.
Yeah. Anybody. Just approach. Feel, you know, whatever you feel inspired and triggered by it, talk to them. And magical things are gonna happen, even if you say simple things.
And pay attention.
And pay attention. That's real.
While you're doing that.
Yeah, pay attention.
That's what I would say.
Yeah.
All right.